Are we rolling? I think we are. Give me 1 second. We're gonna get in the meat of this if it keeps rolling. I have been having some issues with the camera, of which I'm about to use, so I just wanted to double check a few things. Can you even hear me? I hope you can. Alright, so I'm pitching a movie idea here. Um, the genre that I don't feel like, I mean, it gets used, but I feel like there's more to be done in this genre because it's mixed genre. Horror slash comedy. I've seen it a few times. The first movie that really comes into my mind is a movie that came out in the late 1970s, I think, called Dawn, or not Dawn of the Dead. Now I can't even think of it. Evil Dead. It's called The Evil Dead. And your main character in that spins off and takes on a couple of the movies. And by the third installment, I think it's the third installment, it really mashes together like us. Some of these things are going to be terrifying, and there's action, but your lead is a character that can perform comedy well, at least for my money at the time. And and back then, I just thought it was so funny and such a funny idea to be scared and then laugh because every horror movie has at least one person who's meant to be your relief, but overall the genre is meant to just scare you. And this genre just did kind of 50-50 it, and I liked it. Um, another slash kind of deal that wasn't necessarily comedy was a movie called From Dawn Till Dusk. It was Quentin Tarantino starred in it. I forget if he directed it or not, but it legitimately starts like a movie about a couple of, I think they're hitmen who have kidnapped somebody, and you just think that that's the movie, and then halfway through it just becomes, like legitimately, it just changes course and becomes a horror movie. Like, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour in. You're just thinking, oh, we're just gonna see them get into trouble with this kidnapping. Maybe they die at the end, who knows? But then it's just all of a sudden there's vampires or something, and it was really unique idea. And I think what's good about that, well, at least for a viewer like myself, is I have a short attention span, and the idea that I don't have to focus on one type of movie for all that long is good for me, because then there's a better chance that I stay tuned. The negative is for somebody who's the opposite of me, who likes a good, directed, straight on narrative. They don't want all that extra stuff. They can sit down and watch a movie like Lawrence of Arabia. It's 4 hours long. You know? 4 hours. There are boat tours that are shorter. I mean, Gilligan's Island, that whole movie's based around they got stranded on an island out in who knows where, based on the ramifications of a tour that was shorter than the movie Lawrence of Arabia. They would have still had an hour to go do whatever. Like the tour could have been over, and then they just go hang out at the gift shop. And that really puts it into terms. Imagine 1/6 of your day, right? If you watch back to back the movie Gandhi, uh, Schindler's List, and then Lawrence of Arabia, that's about half of a day in just cinema. So I think I'm trying to think of the term, leaving it on the editing room floor, whatever form of that expression is, you gotta use your editor. Holy moly. You don't just make if you're gonna do that, just make the Bible the movie. Just Make a 12-hour movie. Anyways, but I am of the idea that good hour 40 is about right. I get squirmy even at 2 hours, and I'm nearing 40 years of age, so you can imagine what I was like as a kid. So, if they had taken like Jurassic Park and then about an hour and a half in, or an hour 10, it just turned into like a romance film or something. Like they just totally forgot about the dinosaurs and just focused on the doctor and blonde woman, just their arc. I would have been super confused, but I bet my attention would have been there a little longer. And it was a movie about dinosaurs. So, anyways, for the horror comedy that I would be developing in this scenario, just an idea. I'm trying to think of a title. Maybe we call it Unknown Areas. That's vague. That's a working title. We can do better than that. But it does leave wiggle room. And I guess it starts, let's say it starts as a horror. So you get the horror fans in the seats. And then I'm trying to think who our villain would be in a horror movie. Let's say ghosts. Let's say the undead. Not necessarily zombies, but people who can walk through walls and have lesser than good intentions. And let's make it just your general family. And let's not do cabin. Cabin's done to death in horror movies, God knows. At least in my when I was growing up. Let's make them in an apartment. That's it. They're in an apartment in a downtown New York. The mother's the breadwinner. The dad's kind of a loser, but they're able to afford a 7 grand per month loft that's in the middle of downtown Manhattan in a very very large building. But they're at the top of the building, and it's just haunted as shit. It could not be more haunted. I mean, it's literally day of. They just got all. I mean, we're talking. Let's actually make their rent more than that. Let's say they're paying like 20 grand a month because I want this place to be huge and because I want them to have moved in everything. Like so much furniture. And that's the sticking point. That's why they don't. Because I've noticed that white people versus black people, white people just because things are haunted, they don't leave. Black people are like, we're getting the fuck out of here. This is nonsense. Why would we do this to ourselves? Um, but if you watch movies like Poltergeist and um, I mean all kinds of fun ones, The Haunting of Anything, they all just kind of stick around. So this family, all Caucasian white people, 2.5 kids, let's say. Let's just go ahead and up it to 3. Old teenage daughter, 10-year-old son, newborn. Gotta have a newborn. Where's the baby? And it is 6 days into their stay. After they got all their, I mean, there's so much stuff. And it's just one ghost. They come in one day. They're out. They went out to eat, and they come back, and there is just like a family that looks like their family, but even bigger. That they're just chilling, and they don't even like surprise them. They're just like, no, this is our place, and we stay up late, and this is what you're gonna deal with now. And there's our arc to the comedy because at first they're scared, like, well, who the hell are these people? Because they're from like, let's say they're not old, because they're as old as the building. Let's say, let's say that the building that was made in the 1920s, so they're of that era. Family is 7, and they are just stubborn. They're stubborn ghosts. They stay up late. At first it's scary, but then it just turns into almost like a sitcom feel. They're just like, well, we gotta live with this. And then the mom quits her job, um, because she's made enough money. She was like a stock trader. She did stocks, so she's got her nest egg. She doesn't need to work, and they just hang around and fuck around. And so there you go. And then boom, it doesn't even have to be a movie. You can probably get 5 seasons of good television out of that. And in that case, it's called ghostly behavior, or just hanging with the in-laws. Now I'm going. I like the idea that it's a sitcom more now. Actually, maybe we call it just the 12 of us. I'm trying to do math. I mean, if there were a family of five, and then there's seven yet. I mean, I don't know. I think that's all gold. I mean, you can do whatever you want with it. Avoiding pitfalls and cliches. That can be done if it's a movie or television. God knows. There's just so much content out there nowadays in both fields that you don't want to. Appearing original is difficult. You know, I don't know when the last time I saw something and I'm like, this is unlike anything I've ever seen. Somebody who just abandons format and just goes rogue. I don't feel like if I were to make a movie or a television show that I would be courageous enough out of the gate, maybe somewhere down the road. But I do not want to feel like I'm just doing what everybody else does, which is here's your beginning, middle, end. Here's your here's your problem. If it's television, let's say here's your problem, problem A, problem B. Figure out problem B, and then boom, problem A solved. Boom. There's your 30 minutes of television, and repeat 20 times for 6 seasons. I guess I would want them to, like I said, if it's television, you can make some episodes more trying to be comedic, and then some episodes more trying to be horror. Like, really, really focusing on one element of the genre for half of the season, and then the other half is that. Because then you're showing the actor's versatility. You're asking that of them, and you're also, again, for a viewer like myself, possibly you're keeping their attention, which is difficult for somebody. And I already said what I thought the best movie for my money of this type of deal is, and I think it was called Army of the Dead was the installment, because Evil Dead was the movie, the first movie. Army of Darkness. I remember watching that one as a kid, and just because it scared me first, but then I felt relieved when the main character was just legitimately funny for like long periods of time. So I feel like that's when it's done well. And the main guy who plays the main on that does that very well, and he's done it several times. And Bruce Campbell. So I think that's the best example. I don't have any inkling of that being done in television. So maybe that's it. Maybe you do a mixed genre type deal with television just to give it a shot. What's the worst to happen? Put it out there, you see if it sticks. Many, many, many pilots have been made. Some were terrible, and the viewership reflected, and then some were just put toward the wrong audience, and they were pretty darn good, but we never got to see them. God knows I've been a fan of enough shows that just did not get the chance they deserved, and then other shows that I just didn't understand why everybody was in love with it. Got to hang around seasons after seasons. So anyway, there it is. That's my idea. I think Netflix needs to Start answering my emails and we'll bring it home.